Well, hello there, Guardians. In this video, I'm going to teach you about scenes. Scenes is how you filter access to websites to students. Now, there are some websites that are automatically filtered at the administrative level, but you can create your own filters to be more or less restrictive depending on the situation. Now, you actually can't unblock things that are blocked by the firewall or GoGuardian that the district uses, but you can decide what level of filtering you use on your own class beyond that. Now, the allow website list is what it sounds like. When you have that kind of filter, only the websites in that filter will be allowed. So, for example, here I want a student to be on an Edgenuity class and have no access to email or Google Docs. So then, if you look at that, all the websites which are listed are things like Infinite Campus, Schoology, Zoom, Desmos, Edgenuity, Pages, things that the students have used in the past in that class and only to do the Edgenuity work. The cool thing is that while the class is running, you can actually add or unblock something that gets blocked by this very restricted filter. So that's pretty cool. Another thing you can see that it's true about filters is that you can always auto open that website at the beginning of class. And I find that to be very, very cool because it will allow the class to start with that page already open, which is great to encourage students to do what they need to do. I actually have that set up so that when the the class starts, their Zoom meeting starts, their textbook opens, whatever else I wanted to actually have launched right at the start of class, those tabs can automatically open. And this could be something that you do either on the allow list or on the block list. There's also some advanced filtering capabilities that you can do where you can restrict things even further if you want to. You can make exceptions for certain students, and or maybe you're blocking all of YouTube, but there's a particular video that you want to allow. So you actually can add just that as an exception. So in other words, uh, this is like all of these websites are generally allowed, plus whatever's an exception. There's also a really cool thing here that's a tab limit. I really like that. You can actually limit the total number of tabs the student have open. If you do that, they can't have a million tabs open at once. They would be forced to close tabs if they're trying to open them. And so if you're doing something like an Edgenuity where they shouldn't have a million things open, that can be helpful. And it will close extra tabs at the beginning of class. So you do have to be careful with that because it could close something that they're working on. They can always recover that from the history, but it could be annoying for some kids. So you definitely let them know that you're going to be doing that before you do that. So all of these are really, really awesome, helpful things. Also, there's a quick list here, which are made by GoGuardian, which automatically suggests some websites that may be useful to allow or block, depending on your filter. And that's really cool when you're first setting up the filter, because it might help you find things that you need to include or block. So I set up this filter for students who are having trouble in Edgenuity, focusing on what they need to do, and they're using their email to chat or opening Google Docs and chatting to the Google Docs. So I will use this filter for those students. And so I want it very, very restrictive. So at first, I only allowed things like Infinite Campus, Edgenuity, and Schoology, and Zoom, and things like that. And then as the students started doing work, more and more of these Edgenuity related websites started being blocked when they shouldn't be. And so I went and edited that live on the session. And I'll have a different video that shows you how you can do that when you're running the session. Now, you can create all kinds of scenes. You can have more than one scene where you have one that's just for Edgenuity students, and that one allows Edgenuity, but it doesn't block as much things. You can still go to your email. You can still go to Google Docs. It's less restrictive. And there's one that allows email, no email, but Google Docs. And these were all created based on copies of each other, where you actually can make a copy of that scene once you create it and then modify and delete some of the things that you want to include or add more restrictions and stuff like that. So I started with one filter and I made a copy to do that. And you can rename it when you're making a copy. So let's say I would say edge only number 2. And you can even have a color for that filter if you like that. If you want to do that, you can have a description for the filter if you want to. And again, it starts with the same blockage as the previous filter you copied from, and then you can just remove or add websites as you see fit, right? And that's kind of how that works. Now I'm going to cancel this because I don't actually want this copy. I also have an allow only website list for tests. And on that one, I would generally only allow something like the Schoology page, the Zoom page, Desmos, because this was for a chemistry class that I was running that. And I might also allow something like the Google form where they're supposed to be taking the test if I'm using that. But for this test, they only need a Schoology, the Zoom that we're in, and Desmo. So everything else they try to open would be blocked. So it's a cool way to set up a restriction during the test. So that's your allowed website list. And then for the block website lists, it's exactly the opposite, but the principles are the same. When you have one of those, you basically want to list all the things that you want them to not be able to open. So instead of only allowing certain things, this kind of filter will block certain things. And again, it's really cool to use quick lists to find some things that you might want to allow and or block. And again, when you are in the allow list, you can still have auto open. It's just going to be on a different place because these aren't the only tabs that can be opened. So that's why the auto open doesn't show up there. But here you can still have the auto open where you can put the links to the websites that you want automatically started at the beginning of class. You might want to put the Meet link here or any document that you want them to open every single time. Maybe you have the Schoology page for the course, right? So you can find an easy way to get them to where they need to be right at the beginning of class. That can be very, very helpful. So on a different video, I'm going to show you how to edit lists on the fly while the class is running, and how to switch the active scene that's blocked while you're in class. But this is just how to create those things. And by the way, when I am searching for something to block, right, and I find six of them, Pandora, I already did that one, right? But if I search for Pandora, often it's the case that websites like Pandora, like iHeartRadio here, for example, will show up on the same search. So I already go ahead and block all the ones that I'm doing that. So for example, if I search for games, right, I might want to block everything that kind of has to do with games that I don't want it to be playing, right? And so I don't have to block just the website I was looking for. And you can also block all at once all the websites that show up on that search if you want to do that by clicking add all websites. So that's how you would do that. And honestly, the way that I created this list is first I started with the ones that I knew I needed to block, so you can see some of them there. I got Netflix, Crazy Games, Hulu, Disney Plus, Amazon, so all kinds of streaming and social media things that they would try to use in the middle of class, things to watch games, eBay, Discord, you'd be surprised. And as time goes by, you can add more as a student tries to go to a website they're not supposed to. It's like, oh, thank you. You just showed me a website that I need to block. So live in a class while it's running, you can say add this to the block list, and then it will be saved. So in the future, when it will already be included. But I'll show you that on a different video. I hope you found this helpful. See you guys next time.